Okay, so let's see how are we going to be doing along this course the process of copying the animation. In all these stages of blocking, you always are going to have two videos with the corresponding stage of the blocking that we are doing. One is going to be just a normal classic video, okay, and the other one is going to be the same animation wise, but with a grid. This grid is a classic technique that is being used always if you study any kind of visual arts. So it helps a lot to really compare what is the source of your reference. So it's easy for you to see more or less and to read how is the pose and how does it change through the process or the shot itself. So this is more how to do it visually speaking. Workflow, we already talked about that. My recommendation for you very quickly is that you start working only on the primary controls and then you jump into secondary, and as long as it gets the pose a little bit more complex and you need to start working on deformers and extras and all that, go ahead and do so. So for copying each pose, first thing that you should know is that here on the right you're going to see in both videos the frame number that we are working on. So every time that you see that there are changes happening, like I'm using my arrows for example, and this is QuickTime. This is something that you should be, if not familiar with this process of getting any kind of tool that lets you go through the frames very easily using your keyboard. Well, this is your time to do so. QuickTime is one of those. I already show you Sync Sketch, which is an online, let's say, platform that let you do that with more extras like taking notes and all that. But for this case and just for studying purposes, you can use QuickTime. So my recommendation for you is that every time you go and get a new pose, for example, let's say that you have done this one and you want to do the next one, well, you look for that change. Okay, so we see that this change is happening in the frame 41, right? So you will go to the frame 41 and you will do this pose. So you can help yourself also using the grid in order to read and to pose closely as you can to this pose that I have here. So once you already have copy, let's say visually speaking as close as you can, another good way to also copy the animation is by following the parts of the body through the animation itself, or how do they travel from one frame to another, or interest. And you're gonna see that as the shot gets a little more complex and we get more keys, you will want to just go back, 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 following the different parts of the body, right? So my recommendation for you is that now that we're getting started, you just need to go forward, backwards, and see how those parts of the body they change, right? So we can see that the body is getting a little more curved, the head is definitely changing a lot. It rotates this way, it translates the pose of the hand too, right? So the main parts of the body that I recommend you to always follow, and not only of these are the same parts of the body that I recommend to follow when it comes to polish, right? In order to do like arcs or to follow up the spacing and all that, are the same. Those parts of the body are the head, the torso. You can divide these into upper torso or chest and the lower spine, or upper spine and lower spine. The hips or the roots, and then the limbs. Usually hands, 2 hands, and the 2 feet, okay? And lastly, the 2, let's say, in-betweens of those, or the middle parts of those limbs, which are knees and the elbows. Okay, so very easy. Follow up the head, the torso itself, the spine or the hips, and the limbs. Feet, the hands, and then the middle points, elbows and knees. Okay, so this is what we're going to be doing all the time. So every time that you want to get into a new pose, you follow up those main points and see how do they progress from frame to frame. Okay, you can also help yourself using using the grid. I'm just looking for a change here. So we do that, and we help ourselves using the grid and see how far this reach. Right? So this is pretty useful for us. Now, once that you follow each part independently, what I recommend you now is to try to get used little by little to see the character. This is more like a 2D character. So everything that we see in the border or that is creating the silhouette is like a line, right? So we see how are the lines of the character changing, right? How is the silhouette changing through frame to frame, right? And this is more just look at the overall shapes of the character, right? Right now, since we are working just on golden poses, those overall or that outer line of the character is still not pretty noticeable. But you're gonna see that as we get close, for example, for breakdowns, you're gonna see how, for example, the shape of the hand is changing, or maybe the shape of the head or the mouth, the shape of the mouth is changing. So again, first we'll look at the, let's say, the overall part of the body, see how they change in translation, rotation, scale, and then we look at these parts, how do they change, how do they transform and evolve through, let's say, from the silhouette perspective, just like following the outer lines, like if we were talking about a 2D drawing. And that's it, okay? Don't forget about looking at the frames, making sure that you are posing everything in the right frame, and that's it. This is a very straightforward part of the process.